Today, on The Raging Atheist, we're going to once again take a look at Quiver. What is up, you heathens and demons, you beautiful, blasphemous people? Welcome back to The Raging Atheist. I'm your boy Nakasuchi, and once again we're going to be taking a look at the Quiver movement. This time we're going to be taking a look at how I think it started, and I'm pretty sure I'm accurate with this. And we're going to be looking at Bill GotHard, or as I like to call him, Bill GotHard. And we're going to be looking at Steven Anderson, leader of the NIFB, the New Independent Fundamentalist Baptists. We're going to be looking at the Dugars, their controversy. We're going to be looking at the controversy surrounding Bill GotHard. So let's start this. You know, to go to the beginning, you have to go to the 60s. You have to understand the cultural revolution that took place in that decade. You came out of the civil rights movement, and now you just had rampant feminism. You had the hippie movement, the flower children, the anti-war movement. And this liberal sentiment was really taking over the younger generation. And that scared devoutly fundamentalists like Bill GotHard, and it made him fear for the future of the country he loved. And he thought that there was really only one reason why society was turning liberal, why women were wanting their freedom, why children were doing drugs. And that's because the male patriarchy, the authority, had been taken out of the family. And so he started preaching this really hardcore evangelical message. And I believe that he was probably one of the founders of the evangelical message. This new evangelical movement that I've been living in my whole life. But he was also one of the founders, one of the people that really perpetuated this quiverful movement, this male patriarchy, a movement completely about control. And it's all because of that hippie movement. It's all because of that social upheaval. It's all because people started demanding their individual freedoms from the yoke of the religious tyranny that Bill GotHard represented. And coming out of this decade of social upheaval, coming out of this era of liberation, of individual freedom, social conservative religious folk like Bill GotHard were afraid for their spiritual lives. They were afraid for the society that they saw coming. Now, a society that we all embrace, a society that has brought prosperity, a society that is a consumer society that I fight against, but at the same time has produced wealth, has produced an era of humanity never seen before. You know, it used to be the monarchs and the peasants, and we still have our poor, and we're still fighting for these causes, but you cannot deny that this modern era is different. Bill GotHard would argue that it was the devil. And he creates an institute in basic life principles. And he's going to create seminars. It's pretty much a pyramid scheme of how you can get closer to God, how you can bring authority back, how you can learn about the system that God wants, which is male patriarchy, male dominance, male control.
And then men would call up and say, Bill, how can I conquer anger? I said, we got a seminar just for that. Yeah, I've been there 3 times. which means it wasn't catching on. There was something deeper. And what is deeper is all about how God designed us to function. And I'm going to be sharing some things with you tonight that are totally new to most believers. But this is solid biblical, solid medical, solid scientific. And it works.
You see, good old Bill GotHard here has always maintained that he's got the answers. And he reached out to parents afraid of all that social upheaval. Reached out to parents afraid to send their children to college because of LSD and pot and, you know, free mind and shit. And he reached out to them. And he would start getting busloads of children shipped into him. Not just children, but the parents as well. And he would teach these busloads of people, filling auditoriums full of people back in the 80s. And he would be bringing them into this pyramid scheme, seminar after seminar after seminar, hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions of people. Bill GotHard influenced an entire generation of Americans. And we are dealing with this today. We are dealing with the conservative Christian right in opposition to every progress we try to achieve. We deal with it today when it comes to guns. We deal with it today when it comes to abortion. We're dealing with it today when it comes to these harsh immigration laws that these Christian conservatives support. We deal with it today with this red pill mentality that fake news is actually the real news, and being woke to fake truth is the real truth. I mean, we deal with this today because of Bill GotHard having all of these children come in, indoctrinating busload after busload after busload of them. It was Bill GotHard and his Institute for Basic Life Principles that would create ATI, Advanced Training Institute, which is the homeschooling curriculum that most Christians use in this country. Now, this is a homeschooling curriculum that doesn't teach math and sciences. It teaches biblical history. And you get your basics, but you're not going to get what you need. And it also instills male patriarchy. The system is required upon authority. The children obey the parents, the wife obeys the husband obeys God, and that's open to fucking interpretation. It is my belief that Bill GotHard and other people like Billy Graham are what created the modern evangelical movement that we know and combat against today. You know, I often get misinterpreted. People think that I am against every single Christian. I am not. I am against deep fundamental religion of all ilk. And this evangelical movement is as fundamental Christian as you're going to find in America, outside of Puritanism, Amish people, shit like that. And I don't think that Amish people are Christians, but you know what I'm saying. So, but what else you're going to find is he created Quiverful. He created a movement of men that are able to continuously impregnate their wives no matter what the wife wants. And in fact, if the wife were to resist, then she would be resisting God. This is what Bill GotHard promotes. This is the male patriarchy that Quiverful promotes. And I cannot say with any amount of certainty, so I'm not putting this out as a fact, I'm just saying that I would not be surprised if Steven Anderson was not very familiar with Bill GotHard if he did not know Bill GotHard himself. Now, we know that the Duggars, and we're going to be talking about the Duggars were in IFB, are in IFB. And the Duggars knew Bill GotHard. The Duggars, you know, did that ATI. And what we do know about Steven Anderson is he promotes the Quiverful movement. He is connected with the Quiverful movement. In a previous video, I didn't want to go there. But I'm fairly confident now saying that the NIFB are connected to the Quiverful movement. And if you just look at Steven Anderson's life, you look at his wife, at their children, at what he promotes, at what we're going to be looking at right now, it's pretty fucking clear.
No, children are a blessing. We're supposed to be fruitful and multiply. We're supposed to be having lots of children according to the Bible. Psalm 127 says this:
Lo, children are an heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. As arrows are in the hand of a mighty man, so are children of the youth. Happy is the man that hath his quiver full of them. They shall not be ashamed, but they shall speak with the enemies in the gate.
God says children are a blessing. We should want to have our quiver full of them. It's a joy and a blessing and a good thing to have children.
Now there you have Steven Anderson blatantly promoting Quiverful. Blatantly promoting continuously impregnating your wife, and he's going to go on to talk about this, and I used these clips in my first Quiverful video over a year ago. Now at that time I knew that Steven Anderson was a douchebag preacher that I didn't like. I had no idea what the NIFB was. I had no idea that he led the NIFB. I had no idea that he was doing as Bill GotHard did before him and focusing on children and the indoctrination of children. And then we have people like Matt Powell. Matt Powell is a direct result of Steven Anderson's work with children. And we know that Matt Powell went through ATI. Matt Powell himself came on Sirius and was, we're homeschooled kids. No, you're ATI homeschooled kids. There's a difference. There's a difference. Because this ATI is not homeschooling. This ATI is brainwashing. This ATI is indoctrination. It is instilling religious thought into the minds of innocents. This is what it is. And almost all Christians that homeschool their children use Bill GotHard's system. Even now, after he's been pretty much shown to be a child molester.
So when you teach this and you say, hey, be fruitful, multiply, increase abundantly, exceedingly, have children, don't use birth control. You don't need to be Onan. You don't need to murder your own children. You don't need to sit there and abstain from a physical relationship from your spouse during the best parts of the month. No, the Bible is telling us to have children. People will say this, well, if you do that, you're just going to get pregnant every 9 months. And that's not healthy. That's what they'll say, won't they? If you heard this opposition? Now, personally, I don't think that that's healthy for women to have children every 9 or 10 months. And frankly, that's why God didn't design it that way. Now,
even most devout Christians, take away the fundamentalists, take away this NIFB, Steven Anderson, I'm a douchebag bullshit. Most devout Christians, while they might have 4 or 5 kids, and that would be a quiverful to them, that's not the quiverful movement. That's not what Steven Anderson is promoting here. Why would you want to have anywhere from 10 to 20 children? The Duggars, 19 kids and counting. NIFB, quiverful. Why would you want to have that many children? Well, there's a specific reason. And it's not because you love fucking children. It's because you see a society taken over by the devil. And the only way to combat such society is to create a generation of young people that you have molded into the slaves you want them to be. Quiverful promotes an army for Christ. You are producing an army for Christ. And they directly train these children, as we saw with the Plath family, as we saw with the Duggars, as we saw with the monster Toby Willis clan. You know, the monster Toby Willis who was raping his own fucking daughters. Duggars, we're going to be talking about that scandal. Molesting his own sisters. These systems have been proven to only offer suppression, only offer a mentality for men that would take advantage of this system. We see it time and time again.
And that's why, even though my wife and I use no birth control, we do not have children every 9 or 10 months. You say, Pastor Anderson, how do you do it? How are you not having children every 11, 12 months, Pastor Anderson? What's the deal? What's your secret? Hosea chapter 1 verse 8 says this.
Now when she had weaned Lo-Ruhamah, she conceived and bare a son.
When did this woman conceive? When she weaned. Why? Because breastfeeding will stop you from getting pregnant.
Yep, douchebag Steven Anderson is saying that natural birth control is breastfeeding, and this is how they go on to have 19, 20, 25 kids. And you've got to be somewhat wealthy to have this amount of children. So all of them are very wealthy, very fundamental Christians, live out in the middle of fucking nowhere, often keep their families separated because people looking at that think it's weird. And it is weird. And as I said, they're doing it for a reason. Army of Christ. Create a new generation. The same reason that Bill GotHard's been doing it. preaching the same shit that Bill GotHard's been preaching since the 60s, since that cultural revolution scared the shit out of him. Steven Anderson is a byproduct of Bill GotHard. The Matt Powells are the byproducts of Steven Anderson. This is a cycle of hatred that will only stop if we talk about it. Thankfully, there is a community now, our community, the atheist community, that are talking about these dangerous douchebags. And probably the most famous quiverful family of them all are the Dugars. They had a wildly successful television show on the Life Channel, I believe. 19 Kids and Counting. And they would spawn other shows that would promote this very fundamental religious thinking, this male patriarchy. Only a man wants 20 kids. A woman ain't gonna want that unless she's been fundamentally fucking brainwashed. Nobody wants to. Having children is the second most painful thing that you can do or experience in your lifetime. The second most painful thing. The second most painful thing in this world for a human being, men will not ever experience. The first most painful thing that you can experience is being burned to fucking death. Nobody's gonna choose that kind of pain over and over and over for all of their adult lives unless they've been fundamentally brainwashed to think some imaginary person in the sky wants them to do so. It's disgusting.
When you have your first child, everybody is so excited for you. And then you have your second child and people are equally as excited. But when you have your third and fourth, people start giving you kind of a hard time. And when you have your fifth, people think they need to kind of save you from yourself.
Many days I felt so overwhelmed, and it seemed like dark tunnels. You know, I'm never going to get out of diapers and dishes, and I'm never going to catch up with the laundry. And yet during those days I remember just crying out to the Lord and saying, Father, you know, you have given these gifts. I love each one of them, but I think I'm going to go nuts. I don't know how I'm going to keep up.
No one could possibly keep up with that shit. And if you think they did, despite what they're saying, you're fucking retarded. These are very wealthy people that could afford maids, nannies, people to help them. Yet they're going to promote this pure Christian lifestyle as if this is what everybody should do, as if everybody can afford to have 20 fucking kids. I got one fucking kid. I can't afford her.
When Michelle and I first got married, we thought maybe we would want 1 or 2 or 3 children, but we didn't know. But we didn't want children when we first got married. And so Michelle went on the birth control pill and was on that until just a little bit, like 3 years into our marriage. And then she went off the pill and we ended up having our first son, Josh.
And then I went back on the pill, and I ended up getting pregnant while on the pill. And we ended up losing that baby. And that was very difficult for us, because here we were parents holding this one baby in our arms, enjoying being a mama and a daddy, and then realizing that with our own lack of knowledge, just allowing one of our own babies to be destroyed, that was painful.
For one, if you had a miscarriage, that baby wasn't destroyed, it died in the womb. That's not, you know, an abortion, which is what you're referring to. For two, I don't believe a word of what they just fucking said. Now, the Dugars have been proven to be absolute fucking douchebags. And we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But I just don't think that they were ever on the pill. They were always fundamental. They would have always been against the pill. I think it's highly more likely that they saw that this kind of thing was a possibility, came up with this story to promote Quiverful. You should have many children. You shouldn't get on this pill because this is going to... I don't believe it. They've been proven to be liars. They have been proven to be reprehensible human beings. And I don't trust a word that they fucking say. And we have good reason not to trust a word that they fucking say. For one, if you're going to have 20 fucking kids, something's not right up here. Something like if you're the dude that thinks that you just got to continuously have new people to rule upon for the rest of your life, or if you're trying to create this army for Christ because you see our society as somehow corrupted by Satan, a being you've never seen, you are not right in the fucking head. And we do know this about this douchebag, as we're about to see. He knew what the fuck his son was doing to his own daughters. He knew what the fuck was happening and kept it quiet for a year. Christianity at its finest.
And at that point, we were so grieved about this, and we asked a doctor, and he said, yes, sometimes a pill will allow you to get pregnant, but then it can cause a miscarriage. And as we started studying the Bible, and the Bible says that children are a blessing and a gift from God and a reward from Him, we just really felt like that we need to give this area of our life to God.
We prayed, we said, Father, forgive us and give us a love for children like you love children. And we gave that area of our life to the Lord. And right after that, God blessed us with twins.
So what they are essentially saying is that they have popped out 20 kids because of an abortion that wasn't an abortion, a miscarriage, but they're acting like it was a fucking abortion. So now they realize that God loves children and they're just popping out kids left and right, left and right, left and right. Every 13, 14 months, homegirl here popping out a new kid. I mean, it's fucking weird, but people love this shit. They ate it up. People eat up weird. And it was actually good for our cause because this just shows how fucking crazy Christianity can get. And you can't run away from it. This is your religion. This is what the Bible fucking says. But it actually promotes a haven for sexual predators, male sexual predators. It promotes a haven to breed male sexual predators. You are suppressing sexuality. You are suppressing society. You are keeping these children tucked away in your little safe space, and they're not getting prepared for the real world. And you're telling them that their human instincts are wrong. Their human instincts are a sin. They shouldn't feel this way. They shouldn't look at women that way. Women shouldn't look at men that way. Women are property. All of this shit. And then they start to find out, it's too much. And it's been proven too much. And we saw it with the Dugars. We saw what happened to Josh Duggar, one of the most wealthy lobbyist families in the country, successful show. Josh Duggar was a fucking lobbyist on Capitol Hill, and he was molesting his younger sisters.
Our marriage is very different from other people's marriages our age, or even people that have been married for a long time, because the fact that we are trying, our goal is to remain pure before marriage.
Yes, you read that correctly. Josh Duggar's sister were 5 of his reported victims of child molestation. His own sisters. And you also read that correctly, that douchebag dad there, talking about his pure life and his, and God's love for children, did not alert authorities for over a year. Over a year. Wholesome Christian values there. But it's not the Duggars' fault. Not really. They are responsible for their own actions, but they were led there. It's not even douchebag Steven Anderson's fault for saying the horrible things he says from his pulpit every Sunday. It's not his fault because he was led there. He had an example. He was shown. No. We come back to the start of this video, to where it all began. One man, Bill Gothard. One man responsible for the generation of red pill fake news addicts, the Alex Jones fanboys. One man, Bill Gothard, who stands accused by 12 women of sexual harassment and assault, who also stands accused by 5 women saying that he molested them when they were children. Bill Gothard, the man that created this modern evangelical movement, the man that created this Quiver full movement. Sexual predator, pedophile, Bill Gothard.
God designed us with 3 intelligence centers: our brain, our heart, and our reins. Our reins are our intestinal tract and related organs. And we think with neurotransmitters, chemical, electrical impulses from neurotransmitters. And the neurotransmitters are in our brain, they're in our heart, and they're in our brains. The fact is, though, that they're only 5% up here, but 95% down here in our brains. So when Paul said, I delight in God's law in my mind, but I find another law in my members, plural, reigns.
We cannot forget the past. And this isn't even the past. Bill GotHard was accused in 2015. And I tried to see if there was any results of that. But as far as I can tell, it's still in litigation. It doesn't look like he's going to face consequences while he's still alive. He's a very old man now. And even though he's pretty much been shunned, his ATI is still alive and well. Still what people are using to homeschool their children, to brainwash their children at home. And I'm telling you that a few bad apples can ruin the bunch. And it's time to really look at allowing this homeschooling. If parents aren't going to be responsible and teach their children the truth, well then, they shouldn't be able to. Now, I'm not saying you take away their right to teach their religion to their children. I don't agree with it, but I am saying that they're not going to teach a legitimate education to their children. That needs to be a discussion we should have. And that needs to be a part of the discussion of the Quiverful movement. Because when Matt Powell tells me that he was homeschooled and he would never do anything dishonest, all I have to think of is Bill GotHard. What's up, guys? If you like my video, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. Share me on your social media. Comment in the comment section below. Hit the subscribe button. Watch what's next. Watch what YouTube recommends for you. Tell all your friends how crazy Nakasuchi is. I'll see you soon.